Christina Brown here with the Brown team. I was going to chat about appraisal condition requirements today. It's very important to know what kind of loan you're approved for through your lender so that when we look at properties, we can look for those specific things that matter. So we ask that as agents for a reason. There are condition requirements that are different based on the type of loan that you get. And the strictest conditions are put on FHA and VA. Not because they want to punish you for going FHA and VA, not because they want to make your life more difficult, but FHA and VA home loans are typically the riskiest for a lender because you have less skin in the game on those types of loans. So if you default and you quit paying, there's very, very, very little equity. So they are very strict on the condition, and these types of loans are backed by the government. So FHA and VA have to be safe, habitable, meet code, those types of things. Now, an appraisal and an inspection are not the same thing. The inspector, you're paying them to find things wrong. That inspector is typically there 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on the size of the property and such. They are actually walking the roof. They are climbing in the attic. They are running lots and lots of water, turning on the electrical, etc. They are there for a long time, and they are so thorough. The appraiser, on the other hand, might go in there for 20 minutes. They do not walk the roof. They do not climb in the attic. They do not do all the things that an inspector does. They don't open every window and every cabinet. It is literally just kind of a quick visual. So keep in mind that these appraisal condition requirements are based on what they see as they walk through in 20 minutes. So if they can visually see signs of issues relating to this list, then it will be called out and those repairs will be required to be done prior to closing. Typically, we are asking the sellers to pay to do these repairs prior to closing. Sometimes in a multiple offer situation, the seller might say, I ain't fixing nothing. Even if it's an appraisal requirement, you can do it. We don't like that because then you would be, as the buyer, making improvements and repairs on a home that you don't even own yet, and we don't even know for sure if it's gonna make it to the closing table. So we try to avoid that at all costs and get the sellers to make these repairs. But better yet, if we can find a house that we know will meet these conditions is the best way to go. So again, that's why knowing what type of loan you're getting is super, super crucial. So when we're walking through a house, we can say, FHA is gonna have an issue with this. The appraiser's gonna see this, they're gonna have an issue. So we need to know. I'm gonna go through the conventional list first because it's actually shorter. Conventional is really concerned about the big ticket, anything that would make it safe, habitable, code, but not cosmetic. They don't care about the cosmetics. So to be habitable, conventional considers a stove is needed. You need a stove in order to eat, to live, to make it habitable. They consider a stove to be a mandatory thing. So if that stove appears to be working and it looks decent and usable, check, it's got a stove. For conventional, they want to make sure there's the heating system, but the heating system doesn't look rusted and falling apart, and they're not going to test it like an inspector or anything like that. They're just going to visually see, oh, it's got a furnace, the home is warm on a 30-degree day, must be fine. Foundation, if they can see visual cracks, issues, possible foundation issues, they will most likely ask for a structural engineer report. You, the buyer, are typically paying for that because this is a condition for your loan. So if we are aware of possible foundation issues, we want to have this conversation before we get to this point, because foundation issues that have not been resolved, that can kill a deal faster than anything. Now, if they have been taken care of and we can give them proof and warranties and paperwork, they'll be like, check. Plumbing and electrical, those things must appear to be functioning and up to code. They're not going to take the cover off the electrical box. The inspector would. They're just visually looking at it. If they flip a light switch and it comes on, great. They don't investigate any further. Water, they will turn on faucets, but that's it. They're not going to leave them running forever and check the drainage and so on and so forth. If they see active signs of leaks, they might ask to show whether it's an active leak or not, or if it's just old damage. They might want proof of that, which leads me to roofing. So if they can visually see from the ground that there appear to be roofing issues, they they will ask also for that to be resolved. The air conditioning. So having an air conditioner is not a requirement. However, if it had an air conditioning unit outside and it was stolen, they will require that to be replaced prior to closing. So that's the short list for conventional, which is growing. They are more stringent now than they used to be. Now FHA and VA, that is a lot longer list. Again, it's backed by the government. They are stricter. It's a higher risk typically for the lender because you're putting less money down most often than conventional. The same list applies as conventional plus some. So the conventional list was having a stove, heating system, foundation, plumbing, electrical, roofing. Those are the big things. That's the same as conventional. But with conventional, they're also looking at a few additional things, and they're looking for more cosmetic things as well. So the additional things we see come up on FHA is if there's any cracked window panes. So if any windows are busted, they don't like that. They're going to want those panes replaced. If they can see evidence of any active infestation of termites, if they can see any active termite activity, they are not going to inspect it. But if they can see it, they will require that to be treated. Handrails. So if you have more than 2 steps and it's this distance, that distance, whatever, it's considered a safety issue. There's no handrails going down or up flights of stairs. They will require that as well. The big things that are more cosmetic is peeling paint on the exterior, especially if it's prior to 1978, because they're concerned with lead-based paint hazards. So if there is flaking, peeling paint and you're going FHA or VA, they will require that to be chipped off, vacuumed up. They don't want the chips left on the ground visible, and then repainted. That's a biggie. And in the wintertime, that can cause issues. Holes in sheetrock. If there are holes in the sheetrock and you're going FHA or VA, that can be an issue as well. If there are any bare spots on the flooring, so if you're missing flooring or if there's worn out spots from your cat or your dog, FHA and VA will have an issue with that. They don't care if the light fixtures are from the 60s and they're the ugliest brass ornate things we've ever seen. They don't care if the walls are purple and the floors are orange and the refrigerator is green. They don't care about that, but these other things matter. And so you need to know this, and your agent needs to know this when they're showing you property, so that we can point these things out, because we don't want you to spend all this money on inspections and appraisal to find out there's an issue and it's not going to work. We want to catch it as soon as we walk in the door. We don't care if it's ugly if you don't care that it's ugly. So if you're wanting to do a rehab project but you're going conventional or FHA or VA or USDA or whatever, we have to be looking at these things. They don't care if you're the handiest person in the world if these things are not done before you close. So the appraiser is there to do their job and to look at these things, so don't be mad at them. But here's at least some information so you can go out there and be better guarded and prepared for that appointment. So I hope that helps. Have a great day.